Hello, I'm Morteza Kurdi, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about access modifiers. So what is access modifier? Access modifiers determine whether other classes can use a particular field or invoke a particular method. So why access modifiers? Why we use access modifiers inside our projects? It allows developers and programmers to control the accessibility of a specific variable or method. A variable that should not be accessed, it must not be accessed. So we use access modifier to determine that. And finally, we can actually take complete control over the entire program by using access modifiers. So we've got different access modifiers. The first one that you should learn about is public access modifier. So what is public access modifier? If a variable or a function is declared as public, it can be accessed from anywhere. And what is private access modifier? A private access modifier. So if a variable or a function is declared as private, it can only be accessed within the class itself. So by class, this class actually refers to the class that declared, that defined that specific private variable. And finally, we've had the protected access modifier. So what is protected access modifier? If a variable or a function is declared as protected, it can only be accessed within the subclass or subclasses. So now let's go to our IntelliJ IDEA IDE and let's create some real-world examples. So here, this is my Kotlin file, and we have a class called animal2, right? So inside this class, I have a variable that is public. So you can see that the public keyword comes before the keyword var, right? So public, var, animal name. So here, let me tell you that public is the default access modifier for all of the variables or methods or functions actually that you create or define inside your file, inside your class. So here we have the public access modifier. So if you actually delete this keyword public, the default access modifier is public. So we don't have to put public here. It is redundant. So if I hover over this public keyword, it says redundant visibility modifier. So here, this is our variable, which is public, and it is of type string, right? Let's go inside this main function and let's create a variable of type animal2. Let's say that we have a variable and the name of this variable is my animal or my lion. Let's say the name of this variable is my lion, and the data type of this variable is animal2. Assignment operator. So here I just need to actually create a new object of type animal2. So you already know how to create a new object, right? Animal2. And here I want to access this animal name. So because this variable is declared as public, I can say my lion dot animal name. Assignment operator, some name. So here we could access this animal name because it is actually declared as public. So what happens if I delete this public and instead just type in here private? So now here you can see that it's showing us an error, and if I hover over this error area, it says cannot access animal name. It is private in class animal2, right? So let's change it to public. So now let's take a look at this class, this computer class. So we have an instance variable. This is actually private for computer name. It is of type string, and we initially assigned this empty string value to this variable. So notice that it is actually private. This variable is private. So now if I go inside this main function, here, if I want to create a variable, for example, the name of this variable is iPhone, right? Assignment operator, and here I want to create a new object of type computer, right? And I assign this object to this variable iPhone. So here, if I want to access the computer name, I cannot do that because this instance variable is declared as private. So here I cannot say inside this main function, I cannot say iPhone dot computer name, right? Notice that I cannot do that because this instance variable here is declared as private. It says it is private in class computer. But if I change it to public, now I can access it. Now you can see that the error is gone. So let's change it to private. And let's comment out this line of code so that we have no errors. And finally, we have this class, this person2 class, which is open. And the reason that I actually put this open keyword here is that because I want to use inheritance here, I want to use this student2 class that inherits from this person2. So this person2 must be actually open so that we can inherit the features and behaviors of this person2 class. So you already know that. Inside this person2 class, we have this instance variable, which is actually protected person name. So the protected access modifier is like private access modifier, but if a variable is declared as protected, the subclass or subclasses can access this person name variable, this protected instance variable. So we have another class, student2, that inherits from this person2 class, right? So the student2 is a subclass of person2 class. So inside this student2 class, we have this function, change person name, and inside this function, I could access this person name instance variable because it is actually protected. So if I actually change this protected to private, now it's going to show us an error. It says it is invisible. We cannot access person name because it is private. So let's change it to protected. So now you can see that the error is gone. If you have any questions about these concepts that I've taught you so far, please post a discussion in the course, and then I do my best to answer all of your questions. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.